Okay, and we're live. Go ahead, Neil. You called me first.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to our meeting. As mentioned previously, we are short of a few members today. And in hopes that we can all have our say, there will be a few points later on that we'll have to defer forward to ensure that all members are present so that we get input from everyone at that time. Now the meeting has been called to order. Point 2 will be the approval of the agenda. And that will take a vote.
A mover.
And we'll go through recorded vote. Can we use the all in favor with
Perfect.
their hands? Would that suffice? It seems only 3 or 4 of us here.
So what we're going to do is, because we do have a member virtually, I'll get you to have a mover and a seconder for the call for the approval of the agenda. Once we have a mover and a seconder, then we will just go through the recorded vote here, and I can certainly assist you through that if you'd like me to call it. You just let us know.
All right, in that case, we will ask for the approval of the agenda. We would have an approver and a seconder.
I move that.
We have Lisa Crawford, and seconder will be Joanne Key. And if you would mind walking us through the vote, calling us out.
Absolutely. All right. So Key. So you'll just say yes.
Yes.
Or no. Perfect. Crawford.
Yes.
Borges.
Yes.
Is that correct? And D'Amico?
Yep.
And please correct me if I did any pronunciation. Thank you. So that would be carried. You may move on.
Okay, point number 3, disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. We can get over to point number 3. Any points or questions on that particular issue?
None declared.
And then declared. All right. Number 4 would be closed session.
No closed session.
No closed session.
Okay.
Number 5 would be the minutes. And this would be the minutes of the meeting held on March 21st, which are included.
Yeah.
And that would be to be accepted and approved as written and adopted in. All in favor, can I have
A mover.
a mover? Mover once again.
Did you move it out?
Any-
Okay, I'll second it. Yeah.
Use the same. sort of-
Oh, no.
Do you have Kathy?
We have Kathy.
He's gonna second.
Wait a second.
That's fine.
Okay. Through and recorded vote for us, please.
Wonderful. Key.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
Borges.
Yes.
And D'Amico. Lisa did.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. So that's carried.
Okay.
All right, we're now on point number 6, which would be general business. And I stated previously, but just to ensure that we follow the form and that everyone registers as is. Point 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3 on the agenda will be deferred until our next meeting, which has not been set yet, but will be set prior to the end of business. We will move then forward to point number 6.4.
I apologize. So we'll get a motion from the committee to
yes.
defer items 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3.
So
So
then a motion once again, if we would have a mover.
I make a motion to defer 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3.
We have a seconder.
thank you. All right, so then for your recorded
vote.
vote, Crawford.
Yes.
Borges.
Yes.
D'Amico.
Yes.
And Key.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Therefore, we'll move to point 6.4. 6.4, sorry, 6.4 codes declaration fund updates. Now, from our understanding, there must be a report updated prior to May 15th on this issue, is that correct?
For item 6.4, I believe Ms. Ayotte will speak to it.
Yeah, so we had talked about it in our initial meeting, that this was a fund that was available through Natural Resources Canada. It originally had a deadline, I believe, of March 20th, I think, but the deadline was extended. So we did apply. It's called the Codes Acceleration Program. It's designed to support municipalities in reducing greenhouse gas emission. It's focused on decarbonizing the building sector by encouraging municipalities to adopt higher energy efficient performance standards. So if you'll recall, in our climate change action plan, residential buildings and buildings in general seem to be our highest emitters. So that's why we thought it might be a good fit for us to apply. As a municipality in the province of Ontario, we are subject to prescribed standards of the Ontario Building Code. So we don't have the authority to adopt our own codes, but we can encourage both homeowners and builders to integrate, adopt energy efficient designs and best practices to reduce their carbon footprint. So there were two streams that we could apply for. So we applied under the stream that we did not have the ability to adopt our own energy codes. So the total project cost was $114,000. We requested 104 from Natural Resources Canada because it is 100% fully funded. And we would provide an in-kind contribution valued at about $11,000. It would include things like office space, space to conduct information sessions like our council chambers or community hall. It would allow us to fulfill two of our strategies under the climate change action plan. One would be to help existing homes become more energy efficient and to build new homes to be more efficient and have a smaller environmental footprint. It's intended to fund a one-year contract position to engage and educate both builders and homeowners to adopt higher energy efficient standards than what is prescribed in the Ontario Building Code. So what we included was salary, purchase of energy modeling software. So that would allow us to work with builders and homeowners to look at higher energy performance standards, conduct energy audits with individual homeowners. And it would also include a communication strategy that we could use to educate homeowners on the potential return on investment and various incentives available for both retrofits and new builds. So the application had to be in April the 16th, I believe. It's just an application at this point. We're not sure whether we'll get it or not, but we thought, you know, you don't shoot, you don't score. So
Do you know what you got?
I don't. I think they said because it was through their online portal, I think they tend to have a little quicker turnaround now. But I'm not sure. Yeah, short answer. So that's the update on the Codes Acceleration Fund. Sure.
Kudos. I think, a big step considering all we did was speak about it and everyone jumped upon it.
Right at the
You know
deadline.
what? Even though this seems to be past it, if there is a window, the window was open and in we went. We've made our bid and let's hope that it comes our way and we get a shot at this, but we are making headway.
You have letters of support?
No, we didn't. Yeah, so we were pretty bare minimum. It didn't actually suggest that you have. It was more if you were working with a partner.
Yeah.
We submitted this all on our own.
Yeah.
I think there is an initiative at the county level to apply for another program. So we're always in touch with them and working with them. If there's an application that we can participate in, then, we always tag along.
Mhm.
But this one we just,
Great.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Fantastic. Any questions from anyone present or via online?
I guess I'll just, we do get, I was looking around what they had offered in Guelph, based on what we chatted about, and they have an organization, it's a nonprofit called Emerge, Guelph, and they do exactly what you're describing in your application, like the
Mhm.
energy audits and they profile homes that have reached a certain degree of net zero, or are aiming towards it or have implemented strategies. And I think just the promotion of those homes in particular has helped tell the story of what
Encourage
other
people.
homeowners can do. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Um,
Yeah,
So they're, I think, a good model.
yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I looked at them and, I did look at the city of Toronto. I mean, they're obviously a huge, like significantly larger than we are. But I think the other one was at Markham was another one that had something similar, so.
I'm not sure. I only know the
Maybe-
Guelph one,
It's not Markham.
Uxbridge,
Yes,
something.
I think so.
Yeah.
Somewhere there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I don't know if I can talk right now. Can you guys hear me?
Please,
Yes.
yes.
The just what you brought up there about the profiling, the different buildings and stuff that had reached that level, that might be an interesting thing with for our like education kind of stream that we're looking at in this, is to maybe look at some of the, like, I obviously would know most of the better ones through building permits, but a lot of the buildings that have been done in Kevin Monaghan and kind of profile them, I don't know, so by social media or some type of way to show. We could even have the people who built them, because we've had some pretty neat builds in the last 5-10 years in Kevin Monaghan for sustainability, energy. We've had some hemp products out, houses built out of the hemp blocks, and we've had some straw bale ones. So that might be something we might want to look at in the future, is doing some sort of profiling on them.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I think we could maybe do that now as opposed to waiting to see if we get funding. That's maybe
That's true,
something we
then we're
could,
ready
yeah,
to-
that's like our quick win. We
Yeah,
could,
I'll show you the links.
Awesome.
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, that might be a very interesting piece. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
pretty powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5 I've got in mind that we could reach out and even talk to the owners. I mean, they're all kind of proud of what they've done, so I'm sure they'd love to give us some info on like what their hydro bills look like, or what the pros and cons of doing it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Great idea, guys.
Yeah.
It looks like there's something in the chat, is it?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay. No.
Wonderful.
So congratulations. Read it aloud, Carly.
Oh, perfect. Congratulations on getting the proposal for funding submitted in the short timeline. Great job.
Oh, that's how we started out, and it was like a little wave.
Mhm.
Somebody lit a little match and it was like, wow, this sounds like a wonderful idea, and everyone went along. And as said it before, that's fantastic. You know, I'm sure there were a lot of other things that when
You were supposed to do
necessitated
your
your time,
time.
and you were able to squeeze that in. So
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
magic.
Well, we did get an extension, so that helped.
Yeah, we were slightly past it, but and if
That was
we- yeah.
So I was just saying that was all Bridge. She went really hard to get that done. I did nothing, just so you know.
That's not
But-
true.
But what
You
you've
picked
added
great.
now, Kyle, if we can add a little meat and potatoes to have it, literally, even if we simply get a callback, or if we're considered in terms of, can you add anything, if we're already there?
Yeah, then
And
if
we
they ask
already,
anything.
we already have a little bit of a flow chart as to, well, here's where we're going with this, and here's how we can even show examples or opportunities for others to follow. If we're already there, it'll add a little credence and might get us where we wish to go with this.
Yeah, and I think the education and promotion is a key component of our climate change action plan. So Yeah, I think if we can start that now, I mean.
But they have real
Pretty-
world examples.
Yep,
with, You know, it's
pretty
not it's not
cheap and
someone's calculator and slide rule that says, ta-da, this is what you, but to actually have real returns would be paramount. It's nice to know that you actually get, here's what you can have.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
great.
Okay, good.
Okay. That being stated, well, we've now moved on to point number 7 rather quickly, which is an adjournment. And in point 7.1, we will now discuss or hope to discuss or open up discussion for our next meeting date.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Do we meet in the summertime? Like if there's a need, obviously. No, I'm just wondering, because we're gonna be meeting in the next 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Do we try to allocate that to be, a meeting to take this information and make it a longer one, or are we having 2 meetings in May, is I guess what I'm saying.
Do you?
So I
want-
can speak
Yeah.
if someone wants me to. So this committee, truthfully, we haven't even established our meeting schedule as yet, because we're still kind of working through all the logistics.
Right.
So I think, to be fair, I think if we find that we don't need to meet every month, and it's better to, once we establish our goals and priorities, to go away for a couple of months, get a couple of these things done, and then reconvene. I think that's important. I think it's important that the time we gather together is efficient and we're actually getting time in between to do things, because I think that is the best way for a committee to flow. And that's what we've actually done with our revitalization committee. And we've only been meeting quarterly, and we're going to give it a term to see if it works, because we find that you meet every month and every other month, and you don't have time to get the job done. You're like, I don't have an update yet, I'm sorry. So this way we get a couple months, we can get some things done. So before we get into the discussion about the next meeting, I think item 6.1 and 6.2 is a lot of background research. I think to give the committee some additional time, we can send out some more links, which will reconnect you back to the website where it has all the information that's already publicly out there, but it kind of gives you an opportunity to do a little deeper dive, to get ready, to be prepared to. Ultimately, what we need to do is we need to be able to provide 2 or 3 priorities as a committee. We believe, Bridget, feel free to take over too whenever. We believe are a priority for this committee. And then amongst those 4 options they've given us under question 2, we have to rank those 4 based on the priority. And then anything additional that we as a committee would like to submit, or another option or another consideration or something like that. All that information, from what I understand, is going to be rolled up into a report prepared by Robert Lockhart for Rethink, and then presented to our council for consideration on kind of how we continue to move forward in the preparation of our 2035 vision for Parks and Recreation. So this committee is brand new. We're already trying to figure out what we're doing as a committee. And now we're like, actually, can you tell us what you think as a committee we should make a position on? So it's a lot, and we know it's a lot. So I want to be respectful of our time, because we really have to meet before May 15th. So I think let's just, if everybody agrees, let's just leave 6.1, 6.2, 6.3 for our next meeting. That's going to be a lot. From that, we will establish what our takeaways are going to be. And then when we think we need to have another meeting, does that kind of make sense?
And if I could just add to Cindy's comments, particularly with regards to 6.2, the comments on the Parks and Rec Vision 2035. I think for this committee, if you want to take a look at it through the lens of the Climate Change Action Plan. So how do we want our community from a parks and facilities to look like going forward? Do you want to see more green space? Do you want to see more walkability? Do you, with regards to any buildings, looking at the options, looking at the state of the existing Old Millbrook Arena, what are your thoughts? And maybe look at it through the lens of climate change action, because that's essentially, and energy management, because those are the 2 key components of this committee, where you kind of just circle around. So kind of think that through. The updated energy conservation and demand management plan, I'll just add a note, and I apologize because this was on me. I did do an update, but the comments didn't come through. So what I'll do is I'll circulate through Cindy another version of the energy management plan that actually shows what my comments are. Because you kind of just see little, and I was thinking, I said to Carly, oh, they'll be able to hover over it and they'll be able to see the comments. Yeah, no, not so much. So you'll be able to kind of take a look at that. And that you can process that kind of separately. But I just kind of wanted to frame the committee comments with regards to the Parks and Rec Master Plan.
And
Oh, Kat's got a question.
go ahead.
Hi there, thank you. I have two things I wanted to ask or state. So initially, like, given that this is a new committee and there was some conversation that existed maybe within council that said we need a committee to do this work, and it's related to the energy conservation and demand management plan. It's related to the climate change action plan. It's related to the Parks and Rec master vision. So when that conversation happened and that group of people said, we need a committee to do this, what was the spirit, or what was the real vision for the committee before it was formed? Like, I appreciate that we've been asked to like sort of set priorities and decide what we're going to do as a committee, but part of me says there was a reason why this committee was sort of mandated in the first place, and let's know what that is for sure. And then, so that's my one question, and you don't have to answer them on the spot, but my second question is, given the I love looking at the Parks and Rec master vision, and that's a big area that I'm really personally interested in. However, given that I've only lived in the township for under 2 years, I 100% do not have a full appreciation for all of the spaces. Like, you brought up the old arena and what the potential is for the old. I've never been in the old arena. In fact, I haven't been in the new arena yet. I've learned that there's a running track there, and I'd love to come and see that because running is one of the things I do. But just to kind of maybe propose that we arrange some sort of like list of areas in the municipality that exist so that we can sort of understand what could be developed in the future. It would help me because I would take it upon myself to go and walk some trails or go visit some sites in the municipality.
I can speak to question 2, but I think Kyle and Bridget can speak better to the priorities and what created the thought of the committee. So part of the background, Kath, that I'll circulate has that. And within the background study that Rethink has created, each of the parks and each of our places are identified. From what I understand, there's pictures and you can follow through, and it lays it out for you so you can kind of read what each of the places are about. So I completely understand, because that's worth 1,000 words, especially if you haven't been there, to see what each of them are about. Bridget, is there any other spot other than the link that has resources and background information?
I think it's all on the one page. So all
Okay.
of the documentation. So there's a lot of studies that have been done on on the condition of the old arena, Kath. So I recognize that, you haven't been there. That's okay. We're just looking for your perspective. It's an old arena. There is a lot of technical data behind it in terms of its conditions, both environmentally, structurally. I think the operation costs are in there as well. It's all on the main page. So if you go to our website, there's a little feature button that says Parks and Rec Master Plan, I think is what it's called, or Vision 2035. It's a little feature button with a little picture on it. You click on that and it'll take you to all of the background data, all of those structural engineering reports that focus on the arena. And then it takes you to the background report with regards to the entire vision of the Parks and Rec Master Plan. So it'll give you kind of a good view to answer question 1, and then the kind of the technical data to help you answer question 2.
So
I
I'm
just
not-
re-forwarded it as well. It's the link. I did send it. It's
You know, I
that
did
hyper-
read, I did read the document that you sent with the meeting agenda, which was great. And like, it was very interesting to see how the demographics in the township have changed and sort of see a projection of what the population will look like in like right out to, was it 2035? You know, it's exciting to be part of sort of building a future community for a future population.
Mhm.
But you know, I don't even know, I'm embarrassed to say, like, I don't even know where the old arena is, like.
So, and through you, just to add, to give some more background, we did have a facilities tour that was a public council meeting. So we do still, it's a public agenda, but the tour route is still, it's on the agenda and it's public. We could circulate that to the committee.
Oh,
And it's a route you could travel on your own.
Yeah.
And then I would encourage you to visit the community center or the library during its hours of operations and go see it for yourself. And any questions, please direct back to the manager of Parks and Facilities as well, Chris Allison. But those would be two resources for you, and it includes the parks as well. So you could take the route and travel it as well.
That, you know, that would be great. It might even be an opportunity to suggest, I'm going on Wednesday, if anyone wants to join, and give us
Bring
an
your
opportunity to be
Absolutely.
together or even speak and see all at once, and we get maybe a better understanding. Someone might shed light about one particular thing that, rather than bring it back to a meeting, we might even hear about it prior to. It gives us an opportunity to spend a little time together.
Yeah.
I don't
Are you
see
talking
that-
about tomorrow?
No, not tomorrow. I just suggesting a Wednesday.
Guess what? You're going to the old
Wednesday.
arena tomorrow.
And bring,
Pack a lunch, Kat.
bring one of those wavy towel things and get in the mood.
All right. Have you ever been to North Crest?
Have I ever? I learned to skate in North Crest.
So
So,
lots of information's available, and that will give the committee lots of time to do your research, use the research provided by the township, and we can regroup for your formal committee comments at the meeting date
That's a good
set by the 15th.
yeah.
And as of now, I think we still don't know what might come up. Something might come up, we hear about it, and it may precipitate stating that, you know what, we might have to squeeze in another meeting, or we might want to meet here or so on. And we'll just try and be as flexible as we can, so we don't really know what might come up. So,
Okay, so you're gonna, sorry, no chair, you're going to address everybody and find out the consensus of providing like 2 dates and see the
Yeah.
majority that can come between now and the 10th or whatever date we had decided.
When you're ready to adjourn, we just ask that you include that staff coordinate a meeting for the Sustainability Advisory Committee prior to May 5th. And that gives us time to work with everyone's availability offsite and come back with a meeting date.
then with that wonderful piece of advice, prior to adjournment, I will then ask
As
that
part of
staff,
adjournment.
as
Yes,
part of adjournment, please provide potential dates that we can meet prior to the necessary date of the 15th. And hopes that we can all find the availability to be here together once again.
wonderful. So remember,
And
I-
move-
For one, sorry.
Go ahead, any questions? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I, for one, really appreciate having a lot of notice for meeting dates, just because my dance card here at work fills very quickly. And today's mistake was that I didn't cushion in the travel time. So then people butted up their meetings and requests to me, and I didn't account for the travel. So thank you for accommodating me attending virtually.
If it's easier, Kath, please don't ever hesitate. Anybody reach out. We can, that's the blessing of COVID actually, has created this platform where we do interact now and can do it hybridly. And so you can be multiple places at once. I don't know if that's good or bad. But as I sit here with shingles, which is why I'm not there. But anyways, all kidding aside, ultimately, if we can finalize a date, and if it's easier for you to participate remotely, or anybody, if it's easier to accommodate to lock in that date, there's no problem. We can definitely do that for any meeting. Just don't hesitate to.
all right, so a mover, please.
In that case, if we'd have a mover based on that point,
Thank you.
and a seconder,
Joanne,
Okay,
Joanne.
sorry, I second it.
and so for your.
And then
further vote,
for the vote,
Crawford.
Yeah.
Borges,
yes,
D'Amico,
Yes,
and Key.
Yes.
Thank you. Is carried. All
Okay,
right,
all right.
thank you very much. Just give me one moment to close the live stream.